Hallo,
Hallo.
welcome to Film Explorer
Film Explorer.
podcast.
Fabrica, 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 Fabrica.
Hello and welcome from the Film Explorers live podcast Fabrica at Bildrausch Film Festival in Basel. We are sending directly from the beautiful piazza near Stadtkino. I am Jeannette Wolf. This year's edition, started on Wednesday, has its main topic Hello Neighbor, which means exploring living together in all its facets. For today's talk, Film Explorer picked up from the program the film The Shards from Masha Chernaya, who is present here with us. Hello.
Hello.
Masha, you grew up in Tula, a few hundred kilometers south of Moscow. Your parents were writers who met at the Maxim Gorky Literary Institute, which you attended. After studying journalism and before graduating from the School of Modern Photography, and now you live in Moscow. Let me give a short summary of the film. In Russia in turmoil, Masha begins to prepare to leave the country in the spring of 2022. Farewells become more frequent. Her mother is dying of cancer, her lover is fleeing the draft, and her former self seems to be disintegrating. To cope with the pain, she begins to film. Anger and grief lead her into inner exile and into the underground scene that is the last refuge for many young Russians. A multi-layered self-portrait emerges from snapshots, fragments, and observations, capturing the fragmentation of a personality in the mirror of social implosion. Around the table here, I welcome to Öykü Sofuoglu, journalist and film critic, and Giuseppe di Salvatore from Film Explorer. So we are very happy to have you here to discuss the film.
Hello. Since Jeannette started by asking or mentioning the temporality, giving us the temporality of the film, I was curious about the temporality of its making. So did you start really at the time of what we are seeing in the screen, or did you already have an idea of film before? Like maybe you can give us a bit of a more contextualization of how you started making images. Maybe I was wondering if you used other images you made before deciding to turn them into a film, and how did they make their ways into the film?
Thank you for your question. So I was already filming the other project in Georgia. I lived there at some community based founded by Russians, which name was Chateau Chapiteau. I was volunteering there, hoping that that's gonna be a film about this place. It's like utopian commune, something like this. And the first day of war, I met at that place. And then and I was shooting everything. Probably I just had this inertia to shoot. And then I felt like I have to keep capturing the reality because it seems like some important historical changes, and I have this chance to be a witness of it. So I have to film everything, probably without knowing if it's going to be a film or it's going to be some archives that some other people could use in the future. And many people in Russia who are filmmakers, they were doing the same thing. Like, you feel this is your job now. It became really important to capture everything, to observe what's going on. And I kept doing that. And when my life started to change, I understood that it also helps me psychologically to handle everything falling apart, because camera protects you and you have to concentrate on controlling the frame and composition and light and sound, and you feel this distance. Like, in a way, it's derealization. You don't feel that you participate fully in the events anymore. You have this specific role of director, of DOP. It's a little bit crazy sometimes, but also, it helps. So you split into multiple personalities, and you can handle much more with camera.
Masha, I would like to switch actually from the temporality of the making of the film to a temporality that we as viewer experience looking at your film, because, and that's probably more a question of editing than of shooting. I mean, your film is in a way, yeah, it's literally a bunch of shards. So it's really made of shards in the sense that your editing is very fast and the scenes are very often cut, and then the energy is there, but it's an energy that is not directed to something. We are never the feeling that we are going to follow a clear line. Of course, you build the story, even several stories, but so the temporality that I felt is an exploded temporality, is just presence. But there is a chapter when you use for the first time archive material, archive footage of yourself, of your family, and that started with affects. So it's exactly when you speak about your family, you speak about the process of after when your mother was ill and then passed away. So was this a sort of for you a way to hint that you need is a sort of an emotional connectedness with other people in order to think of the past or the future? So how was your relationship to the past, or how would you decide also to have this film archive?
This is probably a difficult question. I hope I understood it right. So I wasn't thinking about showing the past mostly. I needed to show my family more because it's an important. This is the main line of the film, my personal story, and I show my parents. And I wanted to show some dynamic, and I wanted to show happy days, which were taking place at some harsh times. Again, like the history, yes, the history repeats itself, but you can be happy at the times of dramatic changes, and that was 90s. I was a happy child, and my family wasn't very happy, but still, like, yes, sometimes on this archives they look happy. And I needed the viewer to have more connection to my mom as a character. I needed to show it, and it was a surprise for me to discover some episodes in these archives that resonate with my own materials. Like I discovered that my dad was filming the same style I film now, and yeah, me being a kid saying that I don't like camera, and me saying goodbye to my mom when she leaves. She was just, I don't know where she was going, probably for work. And yeah, we had this nice cute farewell, and she was going down on the elevator, and I have this theme into the whole movie of going somewhere down, of descent. Yeah, and the doors of elevator was closing, hiding the light, and it was goodbye. And then almost the same thing happened with my mom's coffin, which was also going somewhere down, and the roll thing was closing, and then it's silence. So yeah, it was also the chance for me to explore the archives in a new way. I saw it multiple times, but that this time editing the shards, I was looking at it in a little bit a different way, finding these parallels.
I hope I can formulate this well, but I have a question about these scenes, the personal scenes that you put in the film that has really strong emotional heaviness in them. So it's heavy for yourself, but it's also heavy for the audience who later resonate with whom the film resonates too much, and they could come to you with their own personal stories and create another layer of emotional baggage, telling how the film resonated with themselves, losing someone, caring for them, loving them. So I was wondering, while you were making the film, how did you decide which aspects of this grief process that you wanted to portray, because that would bring you more emotional heaviness from the audience that want to share with you their own stories, and it adds up to maybe to your grief. So it's like a given you give and you also take from them. And I was wondering, because that's what happened to me. I thought about I lost my grandmother, and I thought about that process, how I experienced it, and now I'm telling you about it. So it's like I can imagine a lot of people from Russia or from other countries sharing with their stories. And that's also, I think, did it play in your decision-making process, these kind of anticipations from the audience? I hope it's clear. I'm sorry.
I also hope it's clear for me, and I understood it correctly. I really wanted to, on the one hand, I don't want to play with the audience in a way where it's easy to perceive. I knew it's gonna be heavy film, and I knew that probably some people were going to cry. But on the other hand, I really didn't want to force them emotionally, like manipulating. Like it could be much more manipulative than it is at the moment in the film, because I could capture more scenes which will make it more heavy. And I didn't film anything during my mom's illness, which was actually like her death wasn't in one way it wasn't a bad thing, because she was tortured by the cancer. She was enduring some incredible pain, and she was thinking about suicide, and she asked me and my brother to help her to die, which was very interesting conversation in our family. And we were thinking, what could we do without going to jail? How can we help? Where can we get the gun or anything else? So that was really heavy. And I didn't show it in the film at all. I had multiple reasons for that. One ethical reason. I think I could do that and nobody would stop me, actually. But I felt like, I can't and I shouldn't. And I don't want people to feel all this. I hope that many things you can feel for the film without seeing it in front of you. The same thing with feeling the war going on somewhere. In Moscow, you don't see it. You almost don't see the signs of it. You don't see blood. You see soldiers sometimes, but it's much more rare than somewhere in provincial cities. So you can pretend that it doesn't exist, but you feel that air is filled with something. You can feel it. And the same thing with harsh moments in my family. I didn't want to show it directly, and I want to play some nice moments, like the footage with my mom telling about her conception of happiness, or us going to the basement and her forgetting keys and stuff like that. And also archives, which sometimes it's funny. So I decided to show it, sometimes without showing it. But the funeral, it also was. There was some hope. This petal of a flower which left on the surface after my mom's coughing went down. It wasn't planned, of course. It just happened, and I saw it. But for me, it was like some light at the end of this episode, and I'm happy that I captured it. That I didn't turn off my camera, which I should do actually. I kept filming, and it was I wanted this film to have some hope.
And actually it has, or at least for me, one virtue of this film is, of course, it's very dark, there are heavy themes, but at the same time, what you, in my perception, what you achieved is also to speak about a certain ambivalence of situations, certain blurriness, or at least, or confusion sometimes, but that could be also a positive confusion or a bad confusion. So I'm thinking now of some scenes that has really struck me, like the scenes of the birthday where people are singing with joy, but at the same time, this joy becomes a scream of pain, and you have both at the same time. or the guy in the street that shout with the flag. You don't know if it's for Russia or against Russia. I don't know. It's very confused. There are several moments like this where you feel that you can interpret in a way or in another, and that's probably there is no answer, but you explore this ambiguity, this in betweenness, and that's why now I think another aspect where you really try to inhabit this in between is religion, because religion is present. Even there, as a viewer, I never understand: is it a positive, like a place of hope in this situation, or is just another situation of power and submission of people, etc. So how is your relationship with religion, and how do you I don't know.
How did we end up with this question? Interesting. It was a long way to ask such a difficult question.
Because it's quite present. No,
It's
still
interesting
ambiguous.
because nobody have asked me this question before, and actually there were much more episodes with that had something to do with religion, some discussions about God and scenes, and more of church bells and being in church, because I'm attracted to this aesthetically at the first hand. But I got rid of it, and there are just few small shots of something religious, and it's interesting that it drew your attention. Like, if as I remember, it's just the church bell and a girl with a trumpet, and just small shot in a Catholic church, which is not very common in Russia. And that's it probably.
Was
And
it also a spontaneous gathering for people praying, or
they're not praying. Maybe
Oh.
maybe that's why you got this impression. They are gathering in front of the main church, but
It's like a vigil.
It's
Like a vigil, like to commemorate people.
no,
No?
it's not. It's interesting. It's nice that I refuse to put any descriptions, and that's why people can get their own impressions, and I'm happy with any interpretation, because in some way it has something to do with religion, but very deeply and contextually. So I just explained the thing about this episode at the screening that just happened. So this is the folklore movement of Russia, which is also interesting in the whole context, because the Soviet Union demolished all the national culture, actually. So they erased rituals and songs and dance, traditional things from villages, and now we don't know our culture at all. And last year's, it started, of course, before the war. People started to be more interested in it. I think even COVID helped, because like we were just locked in our country, and people started to think about their places more without having any chance to travel. And inner tourism developed a lot last years because of sanctions, because of economical reasons, and because of COVID. So there is this movement of people who learn about their culture, and they collect the authentic songs in villages. They go there, they listen to grandmothers, and they record their songs, and they repeat it, and they're like specialists. They study it at universities. They know a lot about it. And it's not only like boomers, it's very young people also. It became almost a subculture now. In Russia, and many of these people, they are also religious. They are mostly in huge families. All the members of these families are folklore musicians, or they studied folklore, and it's a family thing. And most of them are quite religious, but they don't show it. It's not the thing you want to show off. And they visit the same churches because it's also a political thing. We had some liberal priests in Russia, but they were forced to leave the country. They were separated from their people in their church. They have to work abroad. But there are few churches that are still liberal, and it's secret, and people know about it, and people go there and gather there. It's very important for them. And again, like at the dark times, the magic and religion becomes very, very important, because the logic doesn't work anymore. The world is broken. So you want something to guide you. You want to belong to something bigger than you. And it became a huge thing last years. Many young people came to the church because of all events, because of all this grief, anger, and stuff. And this thing in front of the church, it's not religious, it's the gathering of this folklore movement. And these people, they come from all over the country to Moscow twice a year to sing together and to dance together and to play songs, because they know how to sing them authentically. They like very cool at doing it, and this is the twice a year they have this chance to do it together. This is a big thing. But yeah, of course, their songs, sometimes they're religious, sometimes they're devoted to like army conscription, to death. We have a lot of sad songs in our folklore. Yeah, and the last thing I will say, my answer is crazily long, I'm sorry. The last thing I would say that they gather at a bit weird dates in year. They gather at the celebration of the end of World War II, and also which was very huge official celebration. This day became controversial, of course, now, but it was their tradition much before the war. Nowadays war. And at the anniversary, the city celebrates itself birthday. So that's two dates they gather. And the last time I was there, it was this year on 9th of May, again, the celebration of the end of the war, World War II. And when it was the fireworks at the end of celebration, there's huge fireworks always, and people wait for it, especially kids. And at the beginning of my film, you can see this fireworks devoted to the same occasion. And so this folklore, let's say club, hundreds of people, they saw fireworks. And instead of yelling hooray and like Russia, they started to sing the song that Orthodox people sing at the church on Easter. For some reason, it was absolutely amazing. It seems like nobody expected it. It was just somebody started it, like Jesus Christ, fought the death and stuff like that. And other people started because all of them are quite religious. Everybody supported, and it was hundreds of people singing this song instead of patriotic military songs. It was really surprising, and I understood it as the celebration of the like life won and death is beaten, but not in a political way. It was beautiful. This is my answer. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm curious about your relation with subcultures, because I feel like you're interested in communities, alternative groups, and in your filmmaking practice. So how does that translate to your relationship, them being on camera and off camera? How do you navigate in these communities, and how does your interaction take place when you're filming them before starting, or like more practical level, but also on a conceptual level in your cinema?
I had an interest in subcultures since I was really, really young. And it was weird because the teenagers, they get into subculture naturally. They just want to separate from their parents and they want to join some group and be cool there. But I was different because I bought a book devoted to subcultures that was really cool, encyclopedia, rare one, and I read all of it, and I was fascinated by many subcultures. It was describing some really rare subcultures, also not only like punks or emo or gothic. It was some really weird stuff. Then I bought a dictionary book devoted to the slang, and it was not only slang of subcultures, but like classical subcultures. But like we have jail culture in Russia. It also has its own language, a huge one, and people know it in Russia. Or sportsmen, they also have their language. Or street musicians, they also have their slang. And this book was awesome. And then I was like, I was 14. I was like, I'm gonna join some subculture now. I like this conception. This is really weird. That's not how teenagers get into subculture. So it was hard because I was in my city. It was a small town, so we don't have so many like subcultural stuff going on. But of course, we had our cemetery with ghosts. We had our punks, which now almost all of them died because of bad alcohol and stuff like that. And I wanted to join them, and I didn't know how. And I was just walking around these subcultural places, thinking about my strategy, how to get there. And it took me a few months before, at one moment, some drunk guy just invited me to join them to drink. Yeah, hooray! Wow. And then I got to the one subculture, other one, and I explored it, which is really, I was really like a spy. This is not okay. Yeah, and I enjoyed it. And then I got deeply into DIY punk hardcore scene in Russia. I felt like I'm home. I didn't know about this culture or anything because it's something we have it in Russia, but it's much bigger in US and in Europe. Yeah, and I discovered punk zines, and I started to collect them. I have hundreds of it. Yeah, I participated in some punk bands, and some Food Not Bombs stuff. And like, wow. And so yeah, I had a lot of connections when I moved to Moscow. I started my artsy bohemian life. I'm kidding, but some kind of it. I know many people in all the circles, and of course, it's always just there is a huge city. It's 10 million people in Moscow, but of course, there are just few thousands of them who really create something, and everybody knows each other. It's the village. I mean, we saw that Moscow is a village, and then I lost my interest for some time into all this stuff. Yeah, and when I came back to Russia from Georgia at the beginning of 2022, I felt like something interesting is going on again in the circles, and I want to discover it more because some years passed and I missed some new bands, some new places, new practices like fight clubs or something. So yeah, I started to explore it aggressively, just like I did it when I was 13. I was like asking right people what's going on because it's all in super secret. You have to be in special chats. You don't get invitations. You don't get address. You have to ask right people. You have to. It's a huge network, and you have to dive in it. And I did it. And because I had many connections before, and people knew me already from various stuff, I was doing some various stuff, not only filmmaking. I got into this. I came back to all this underground subcultural stuff very quickly. In a few weeks, I knew like there is this theater, the abandoned factory. There is this rave. There is this fight club. There is this fashion shows in basements. Yeah. So it was partly. It was always in my life, but the film forced me to re-explore it in the new context.
And how is the practical aspect of filming people if they're so like secret and privately organized? Like, how did you navigate? Like, is there any political or so implication? I'm
No.
curious. No.
The controversial thing here is that it's a secret. Yeah, to do not just to have the right vibe, to do not have some strangers. but it's not mostly. It's not about anything political or being in real danger. Because there's events that mostly they don't have anything to do with politics, and this punk shows, the songs, they are not devoted to political themes openly. From again, for multiple reasons. Also because probably on one hand, probably some people are just not interested, even though they are punks. It doesn't mean that they really against the government or something. And also, we are really tired of propaganda in Russia, of any kind of propaganda. And there is a oppositional propaganda also. I'm sorry for saying this, but it's like true, like too exaggerated words and stuff like that. And we're tired of every side of it, especially like really young people. And I think partly this is the reason why they don't use political lyrics in their songs. They prefer it's more like poetic, abstract, something that resonates with the reality, but not in an obvious way. We don't like direct messages. We like some ambiguity, or I don't know.
But in a sense, that's political. That's
Yes.
a way, a realistic way, probably to do politics, just not in a positional way, but exactly exploring these territories that are certainly, as you say, in the subculture. Even what you explained before, it was very interesting about folklore or religion and this in between. Actually, probably that's the most effective political gesture you can effectively can now.
Yeah, and
Uh,
also the possibility to gather offline and just to chat and sit at the kitchen or see each other in real life at some punk shows. This is also some kind of a resistance, or it became extremely important. And also that's why the circles are so uh, closed, because it's about certain community, certain people you want to see.
and probably this is the reason why despair, that for me was the first keyword of your film, uh, actually can have also a sort of function of creating a tabula rasa, or nah, it's a destructive thing, but at the same time allow you to feel something different. And the fact that this tries this way of living, this subculture, etc., are probably something that we have not to connotate immediately as this on this on this, no? And from this point of view, for me, probably my last question will be about fatherland or motherland, because I was quite impressed in mostly in the end of the film, that still the question of the anthem and the question of feel attached to Russia, that of course is connected to the fact of staying or not staying in Russia, etc., is still in your people, in your group of people. So it's still a very important thing, despite the fact that, of course, as you know very well, this patriotic feeling was fully exploited in the last 20 years for nationalistic and military purposes. So for me, it was really, oh wow, that either had to be really strong, this connection to this feeling of being Russian, of being a Russian, uh, or you are a sort of visionary, or another idea of fatherland or motherland that is probably projected in a visionary future.
I was just answering almost the same thing at the screening. My way to answer is, there is this example in the film, when people want to sing a song at the kitchen, but they, for some reason, they hesitate. They feel embarrassed because they don't know should they do that or not. And this is very contextual thing, which is immediately, like, for Russian people, they understand it immediately. For a foreigner, it could be a little bit more weird and not obvious. Mm, yeah, we still have, of course, the love for our place, for our people, for our culture, and it became not forbidden, but it is very controversial now. It feels like something was taken from us. I described this folklore movement, for instance. It was trying to getting your roots back without feeling bad about it. And we only started it last few years, and now again it's something bad. Your own your patriotic things, they are not good anymore again. And but people still love their place, they belong to it. And in case with this song, it's a stupid patriotic song, sad romantic song, which is very famous in Russia. In the boomers like this song, but young people like it in an ironic way on one hand, but on, like, I don't know if you have this in your culture. We have a lot of things that are ironic while you're sober, but when you're drunk, these things, they become really important again, as just the same level as it was important for your parents. And it has a lot of things to do with music, because there is this cringy old music which you kind of hate, but it's so funny, it's cringe. But when you're drunk, even if you're 15, you sing it with all your heart and you cry and stuff like that. And the same thing with this song. And but this song is very special because it's the song from a band which is officially, this is the favorite band of our president. And this song is like the concentration of this patriotical things which you probably shouldn't touch and shouldn't like. But yeah, there's young people, they still wanted to sing it, and they sing it, but they were scared at the same time. And it always feels somehow the same. And the scene with anthem at New Year's is also the same. So we learned this song at the school, we sing it, but yeah, we're not sure anymore if we should do that. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah.
That was a good metaphor, I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think
Thank you.
We had the possibility to really to explore and to learn about a lot of nuances in your film, even if the film is quite hard and dark in a way, but it's still with
It has
with
hope.
light. Exactly.
Yeah, thank you very much for being our guests here at this Fabrica live podcast from Film Explorer about the film The Shards. Thank you, Masha Chernaya,
Thank you.
Öykü Sofuoglu, and Giuseppe di Salvatore, and to Olivier Legras, responsible for the technical part of our podcast, Fabrica. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to podcast series Fabrica.
Fabrica.
Stay tuned on Film Explorer.